My lord.
I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word, after all.
Thank you, madame. Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now with so many unanswered questions.
Mr. Foreman.
I'd have to agree. Not that I think the granny did it mind.
Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either.
All together now, ladies and gents.
We did it. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo.
So, as a result of the defense summation examination, a number of jurors leaning have changed. 2 jurors called guilty, against 4 now calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided, and this trial will continue. Ma.
So I wonder if they have the whole thing of having a trial like go into 2 days or not.
Now then, Lord Van Jeeks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed?
Oof, my neck.
This trial is rapidly descending into a farce.
I just realized the thing on the bottle is like a Reaper looking guy or like a mage guy holding 2 scythes. What do you think you are? Why does the Grim Reaper need 2 scythes? One isn't enough for you?
Like a corked wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. But what follows is so repugnant, it's good for nothing save the gutter. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond, but let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourself better with the relative positions of those places being discussed.
What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time?
It should already be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garudeb household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road. Which means that the distance from the Garudeb's house to the scene is some, yes, 15 yards.
Let me see. 15 yards. That's around 14 meters.
Okay, I'm not doing the math this time. 14 meters? Oh, that's a little farther than I imagined. And, as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book, wantonly hurled by the lady of the house, traveled some 15 yards to land on the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumb. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? And did the jackknife follow a nearly identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots.
Ah! There's nothing I can say to that. That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice.
Miss Susato.
Serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he?
Susato. Maybe let's pick our battles here.
My lord, might I be allowed to speak?
As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense, yes. Go ahead.
The prosecution may consider the idea of fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. To that end, juror number 4, Miss Joan Garrett must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination.
Saints alive! Whoa! A cross-examination of a juror! That is pretty wild to hear. Order! 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 Well, this is highly irregular. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand.
Objection!
Goodbye. And unnecessary. Lord Van Zeeks. There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimonies the defense make further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theory has any truth in it, then both the burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before the couple's eyes. And we must assume they would be able to testify accordingly. What say you, witnesses?
Yes, sir. Constable Royal Beat reporting for duty, sir.
Well, good morning, officer.
Sorry for dozing until now. Sir, I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who has appeared on my beat, sir.
A villain? What?
Oh, they're so heroic, those London bobbies. Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more. Oh, Rowley, my hero, you make me swoon.
Very well. I hereby reject the defense's request. Rude!
Oh,
And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events.
yes, sir.
So he's not sleepy anymore? Oh, well then. Oh, he's trying his best.
This case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. Believe me, a London bobby is good for his words. You see, sir, the windows of the top floor of the Garrett house are top hinge casements. What? Obviously, if anything had been thrown out the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Raleigh here was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. I didn't take my eyes off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir.
That definitely can't be true. You were fucking sleeping the entire time. Well, this is quite startling. Top hinge casement windows. What the fuck is a top hinge casement window? That detail was not in the police report, Constable. Why would it be?
Yes. Sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy.
You cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable.
No, sir.
Sorry, but what exactly is a top hinge casement window? And you cannot excuse your ignorance with such trite remarks, my learned friend. Of course. Sorry.
I found it, Mr. Naruhodo. Cast your mind back to the windows in Mr. and Mr. Garrett's room.
Alright, I'll try.
So the windows opened in order to allow air to circulate inside the house. But as is the top hinge casement window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see?
Oh, and that's as far as it goes? I'm glad you rectify your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature is its stay, a metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount. Oh.
It prevents it opening? This is all new to me. Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife would have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below. No!
You see the problem then? Good. Your education in windows is complete. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane had been shattered, something we've discounted already.
That can't be! Did you see that, Rolly? That young Japanese man just collapsed in agony. Oh yes, my darling, I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me. Oh, Rowley, you're so strong. How is this happening? I haven't even started the cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed.
Counsel, if you could drag yourself upright again, the court awaits your cross-examination.
My lord. Oh good, another desperate situation. It's okay, you can do it. I don't know how to even progress it now, so I guess it's not possible to fill out with a fine. Sorry, I'm like really tired. So what could it be? I bet you that bike that's still been unaccounted for. I bet you that bike has something to do with it. Did like someone get hit, or like did someone see it fall down and then they used it to alter the scene of the crime? I don't fucking know. I have no idea. What made her fucking fall over then? I don't fucking know. I'm just gonna press everything. How can you say that for certain? A very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to us all policemen of our sworn duty. He showed us that before, didn't he? Did he? I can't say I remember. Why don't you remember? To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man is what the job's all about. And that is why I can stand here today, beside my long-suffering wife, and tell you a Bobby's good for his words. While rubbing my tired eyes admittedly. Sir. Oh, Rowley, you're so manly. Of course I am, my darling Patricia. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rowley. I get sick of them. No, none of this is what I meant. I meant, how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb? Ah, I see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir. Yes, well, so could you answer the question? That was a waste of time then. Absolutely, sir. I will answer it to the fullest of my ability, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's domestic abuse can't be related to the case. But before I get into that, sir, just one thing. What? Why did it stop? Yes? I'd very much like you and all your countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. So I hope you'll take back some tales of us London bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles. I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here. Oh, to that end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears. Thank you. I'll try. Oh, yeah, let's see what it says. There's gotta be something incriminating in there. Bizarre window top placement. Yeah. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. I'm trying to press this. Where is it? A policeman will strive to preserve the peace within his allotted beat. A patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. Any crime fall under the jurisdiction of the beat. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. So the whole sending your wife to a different police box is fucking false. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigation to help detectives. Which I didn't see you there, boy. You weren't there. Where were you? What the fuck is this shit? Oops, wrong button. You're sus as hell. Hold it. By which you mean they don't open fully. Is that correct? Yes, sir. They're just there to allow a bit of air through the house, you see. So they're restricted as to how much they open. And therefore, anything thrown out the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Wow, thanks. Here is the location where objects would have fallen. Yes.
directly opposite the scene of the crime, on the other side of the rather wide road. Would it have been so hard for somebody to mention this top hinge casement thing before? Well, I have another question for you, Constable. And what would that be, sir? How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house was furnished with? Ah, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday. Oh? What?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat?
Sorry?
You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that?
Oh, I was just remembering, that's all. We really were so lucky.
What? Lucky? What do you mean?
Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Royal's beat. It was so close, you see.
Oh, I hadn't realized.
Oh, yes, that street, Briar Road, that's the boundary between Rory's beat and the next one. Isn't that right, my love?
Constable Beat. Yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupants of the Garrideb household yesterday. Their house is on my beat, you see, sir. That really was cutting it close then.
Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Garrideb household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is as well?
Outside Mr. Garrideb's house? Yes, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat. I see. I was unaware of that.
Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road, we would have never been able to go to that meal to celebrate our wedding anniversary.
Did they move her?
But that's the life of a Bobby after all.
Did they move her? Did they move her body? Did they move her fucking body? Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners.
Do you know what I think? I think it was the good old Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all this hard work. Don't you think so, my darling?
That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it. I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record.
Leave it to me, Mr. Naruhodo. I'll take care of it immediately.
The pavement where the victim was found lies just outside Constable Beat's beat, the border of which runs down the middle of Briar Road. Did they move the body over to the right?
And now it's my turn, I think. Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it.
Hold it!
But according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already, and it was dark.
Oh, but Rolly and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for her lucky star.
Sorry?
The star that will guide us to eternal happiness.
Can't it guide you to answer the question? If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like a shooting star.
And if I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. Let Royally be an inspector, I would have said, 3 times at least.
Of course, well, with the smog and everything, we couldn't actually see any stars. In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you? Yes, sir. That is correct, sir. As sure as the night sky in London is starless, sir. It certainly seems like they're telling the truth.
And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed.
Hold it!
Oops. Oh, well, that's okay. I wanted to press that anyway. Yes, you said that you went to a nearby police box to fetch another officer. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
I wanted to see her icon. Okay, same thing.
If it had been on Royal's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course.
Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box on every beat.
So Rolly told me the way, only I sort of got a little lost on the way.
Patricia, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly.
Oh, please.
So I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. But like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed.
I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty, sir. I didn't take my eyes off the crime scene for a moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on that front, sir.
Hold it!
Nothing to report. That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the entire time. Never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. I could swear to that on Yod's honor, sir. Really? That seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, sir. Strange, sir? Seems altogether regular to me. This burnt copy of the Lion's Pride was originally in the Garadeb's household. So the question remains, how did it find its way into the hand of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime at the entire time? Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One that just happens to be burnt as well? Even if that were possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As we can see from this photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder. Well, sir, that book was in Lily's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries of how the knife ended up in her bag and how the book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread between them.
Can I ask you something? Please, Mr. Lawyer, sir?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell.
What? I wasn't really... I mean, what's she doing?
Please, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony any less valuable. You might just see me as the wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word, I am.
I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you.
No excuses. I don't want to hear it. My voice will be heard. My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you?
Yes, Miss Bate. I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one. That was a very loud mutter.
I heard that! That Japanese man thinks a policeman's wife's word counts for nothing, does he? Well, watch out, sir! I might not let you get away with something like that. I might let you get away with something like that, but my Rowley won't.
Duly noted, Mrs. Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue.
What could she possibly be about to say, I wonder?
I don't know. I know what I saw. My eyes never let me down. My sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though. Thanks. What? I didn't take my eyes off the... What?
Hold it!
Mrs. Beat, nobody is questioning what you've told us.
I saw it, I did! That evening, I saw it clearly. That little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny curved back, slinking away from the scene. And I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky.
All very clear. You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction.
Oh, yes. Well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up in the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly. He gets ever so cross.
Excuse me.
Oh, what did you... Constable Beat, is there a problem? He's sus. He's sus. You're sus! You sus as hell! No, sir. No problem, sir. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was just remembering that the same thing happened that evening is all. You mean Mrs. Beat lost her way on the night of the incident? Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than what I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes, but my darling was gone for a good 15.
Oh, Rolly, you're such a tease. But the reason I was so long was because of the bouquet, silly.
Bouquet? The bouquet? Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about?
Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rolly's so romantic. He saved up for it with fartings and hot pennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds.
Oh dear. You don't get paid a lot, huh? Yes. How romantic.
I'd forgotten all about it until just now. Had you, my darling?
Oh! No. Yes. But that was just between us. No talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to promise.
Really? Oh.
Promise what? What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange.
I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr. Naruhodo.
What?
But I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Mrs. Beat about the bouquet.
Bouquet? Mrs. Beat, this bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like you to add details about it to your testimony, please.
Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to.
What's this about fucking flowers? What does that have to do? What'd you got for me?
What happened was I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while.
Hold it!
Oh dear. Where'd you lose it? You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime?
Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back, I was so shocked. I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice at first.
And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on.
Yes, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
Move the fucking body. Hey, move the body. In case you needed reminding, Mrs. Beat, the victim is not deceased.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling for me from the other side of the road.
Your husband, presumably.
That's right! Silly me, I'd gone over to the wrong side of the street. Although, I'm going to blame the bouquet this time. I can't think of how it got there. I really can't.
The body was moved, come on! So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briere Road to the opposite? Curious indeed.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick up the bouquet again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rolly bought me, with that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
I don't remember seeing flowers by Bouquet. Oh, does he have it? Do you perhaps mean this sorry solitary rose? No, don't fucking call him out on it. Whoa.
Oh, yes, that's it. That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary, with old bits of change he found in the gutter.
Maybe just call it a rose. Tell us, Lord Van Ziet, where did you come by that flower? According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Garudep household. The body was fucking moved! Let me say my shit! In front of the Garudep's house? Although it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it laid where the street lamp cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case, since it was found in the opposite of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. Could I have it back now, please?
No, I think for good measure, this rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Oh.
Stupid.
Oh, but it's a symbol
The symbol of love that you fucking dropped and left behind. Present for Patricia Bede from her husband Rolly. The shock of seeing the stab victim caused Bede to drop the rose where she stood. Is there something of note here? What's this? It's very stylish paper the flowers wrapped in, isn't it?
It's just an old newspaper, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, I suppose it's because I'm not used to seeing English print. It looks so exotic to me.
Ah, I see.
Is something wrong?
Oh, no. I was just thinking that if you wrapped a stone-baked sweet potato in English newspaper, it might look like some sort of fancy cake.
Ah, Susato-san, you do love your cakes. What the fuck? Wait. Is there something of note to this flower? Like, is there something hidden in here? Are we gonna find a knife's tip in here somewhere?
An English rose. Such a beautiful flower.
Ah, this is a rose, is it? I've never seen one before.
Do you not take an interest in flowers, Mr. Naruhodo?
He's never seen a rose, but he knew what a rose was when he said just call it a rose? What? I wouldn't say that exactly, but I do know 3 types at least.
Gosh, 3?
Yes, plum blossom, peach blossom, and cherry blossom. Shut up!
Perhaps you should consider branching out, learning some that aren't fruit tree based, for example.
Shut up. Is there anything else to examine on here? The butt, the stem. Oh, nothing. No. Shut up. All right. I guess that's it, right? There's nothing else to examine, right? There's nothing else in here, right? Right. Am I sure? Am I sure? Am I positive? Okay. I guess there's nothing.
I want it back after the trial! Do you hear me? I want it back!
Good grief! Rest assured that I'll sure do my very best not to forget Mrs. Breach. So am I supposed to press or present?
Hold it!
I don't think I have anything to present actually. I'm gonna press him. Nothing to report. Is this the same stuff? He says something to remove. Really? That seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, blah blah blah. But oh, so it's all with the book. Okay. Okay.
Well, Miss Naruhodo?
Oh, sorry, why did I do that to her?
What do you make of all this?
Yes, the whole idea of an invisible attacker has been troubling me all along, but I believe I'm starting to get a picture of what really happened here now. The 4th book that had no business being at the scene of the crime made me sure that Mrs. Garrett was hiding something from us, but it's becoming increasingly clear that someone else has been hiding something from us as well. I think I may already be armed with everything I need to strike a decisive blow here. This time, I'm going to expose the whole truth about this mysterious affair. Okay, so am I presenting over there? Ooh, I just don't know where to press it at.
What happened was I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while.
I didn't take my eyes to the crime scene for one moment. Nothing strange to report on that front.
Objection!
Okay, is this right? Alright. You claim, Constable Beat, there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be.
What do you mean to say?
In your testimony just now, Miss Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime, with the policeman assigned to the beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection!
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road, to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described, whatever fuck. No doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs. Rude, that's someone's gift!
Meager!
Objection!
Or however you pronounce that word. But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact?
No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me! It had nothing to do with the case! That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure!
No, because sadly, it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way round. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garadeb's book. Mr. Garadeb's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out the window by his wife, would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here, on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime, on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here, on the opposite side of the road, in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb's house. There's no logical explanation for these things, unless somebody deliberately moved them.
What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong.
Don't you listen to a word that Squirrely Lawyer says? I didn't realize you woke up. What do you want about books and bouquets? Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Oh good, Mrs. Garadeb's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garadeb. But deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called, tampering with the evidence.
Tampering, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh god, he got so tall. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering. You've barely heard the term before. Whatever. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? Yes, there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All that evidence and all the testimony pointed to that one particular person. Counsel, I must demand to substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for the tampering with the scene of the crime? Sherlock! I miss him. We still haven't seen him. Well, we wouldn't see him here, of course.
Take that!
Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Royal Beat, it was you. What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard?
What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband! No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London!
Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it.
You're making it up! It's all nonsense! It's all lies! What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him! He did it!
Objection!
If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it.
And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Miss Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Well...
Objection!
First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you've incriminated a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim that the crime scene was tampered with. But there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime. It's to hide something.
That's right! He's right! But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all! So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense!
You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats. Constable Beat had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair.
Mr. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve the mystery?
Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I did not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yes, my lord. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide. where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs. What?
Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road! We saw it happen, remember? It was right here! As if anyone didn't already know!
That's certainly what everyone has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all.
What? What?
Oh, my voice. I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Counsel. If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponi's friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening?
Bitch!
Take that!
But that's on the opposite side of the road.
I don't understand!
On the evening in question, Mr. Garadeb's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Miss Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Or gracious! The motive must have been one or two things. The one that seems more plausible is that he didn't want to miss out on the wedding anniversary, whatever thing that they were doing. So he moved the body so that someone else could take care of it, even though technically speaking, the one who found it had to be in charge of the duty, but he didn't say anything otherwise. So he got his wife to go find the policeman that's in charge of the beat across the street in order to take care of her so they could go away or something like that. Or he was actually no. I was gonna say maybe he's using this as a way to like try to like garner like points in order to like step up to become an inspector, because that's what she wished for or whatever, but that can't be right. I don't know. Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place.
That's right! I saw it with my own eyes!
It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was a typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of the Briere Road.
No, that's not true! It can't have been!
Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print. The victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of the Briere Road. Briar Road, wherever. Briere. Extraordinary. But the constable overlooked one thing.
What? What did he overlook?
The bouquet, I presume. Exactly.
The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Ziek said it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it laid where the street lamps cast no light.
Yes, it couldn't have been seen in the dark, obviously. That seems stupid. How dark could it possibly be that you couldn't see something, like, whatever. I'm so used to seeing, like, I'm so used to being able to still see things even though it's nighttime because of, you know, city lights and stuff, so, I don't know. Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position, on the pavement on the west side of the Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Royal Beat.
Oh, well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important? Oh, Raleigh! It isn't true, is it? What the lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is because you're the most upstanding righteous man I know.
I'm afraid. Don't change a face to scare me, okay? I don't want to be scared.
I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything exposed. Only, it seems, It wasn't a dream at all.
Good God! That was his way of fucking saying yeah. Order! What on earth is the meaning of all this?
Oh, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like that? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it?
Wishing the victim dead should be one too.
Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town.
I can't say, sir.
What?
I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation. For everything.
I have a possible explanation for why, on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason.
What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman. And yet, Lord Van Zieks, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far.
Wait, before you let me read the wisdom book thing again. A policeman will strive to preserve the peace within his allotted beat. A patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. So, is it the fact that he wanted to like maintain that his beat was all peaceful and shit, nothing would happen, nothing bad could happen, but because there's a dead body shown or whatever, he didn't want to like, he didn't want his beat to be like not peaceful. Oh, fuck, I don't fucking know. If I have to be the one to fucking say it, I'm screwed.
I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please.
Oh dear. Yes, my lord.
Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence.
At once, my lord. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. It's the wife, right? The way you're saying it, it's the wife.
What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions?
Is it the wife? I will. I have multiple chances. It doesn't matter. I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I've only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. For example,
keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways. There is no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly.
But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special.
Special? How?
On account of this bouquet, my lord.
Oh yes! It was her very first wedding anniversary!
Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal,
when he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road.
When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of him. Oh, I don't know who's saying this. What must have gone through that man's mind?
But sir, just on that particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Miss B put up with being married to a Bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care.
Childish! This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend to me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives.
Oh!
Constable Beat. Is that or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day?
Yes. Everything you said is all right.
So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat.
Oh!
Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Oh gracious! Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done?
It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight, of all nights? Why? It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. So you have to go to the police box that covers it. Turn right along Mearsham Street and then... What an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Constable. I just wanted, just that one night, to take my Patricia out for dinner. Oh, really? Just that one night.
You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. You see, I thought... Well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see. I beg your pardon.
Oh, of course he did! Otherwise, my Rolly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement!
Oh, I see your meaning now.
But God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat. Oh no, Rolly! That was all my fault! I should have never dropped him in such a dark place! I'm so sorry, Rolly!
And can you tell us, Constable, how many books did you move from one side of the road to the other in total?
Huh? Oh, 4 it was. Yes, definitely 4. 3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garadeb household, of course.
But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the other books were scattered haphazardly around, I mean.
Oh well, sir, that's because that's how I found it.
How you found it? What do you mean?
When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding?
Oh yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir.
Interesting. So the book must have fallen. It either landed near the girl or hit her on top of the head, whatever. She probably didn't get knocked out from it, maybe? Because they only live on the second floor, right? I think. They only live on the second floor. She probably picked the book up. And then someone still stabbed her from behind or something? But who would have stabbed her? No? I don't know. We'll see.
I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only the two people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However which way you looked at it, it had to have been the fellow who ran off who done it. I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it.
My lord. Yes, Lord Van Zieks. I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses.
Oh shit, it's not over. He's still under suspicion. Fuck.
Constable, you may withdraw.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Prosecutor, sir! What will become my Rolly? What will happen to him?
For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please, don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home. Why? It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late. Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired. All right then, my love.
One last thing, Constable.
Sir.
Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you.
Yes, sir.
Carve that lesson in your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime.
Never again, sir. You mean to say...
Why, you still letting him keep his job? Leave now. This trial is not yet over.